This model review is of the Shackleton. It's a 1/72nd scale, and it looks like it's by Frog. And let's see the picture of what it looks like. And it's an interesting looking box. On the back side here, it shows us the painting guide, the two different versions. There's the Royal Air Force version, as well as the South African version. So let's have a look inside. This is a very old kit, and I've booked this online as well. So starting off with the cockpit. And once you put that together, you put together the fuselage. Looks like we've got some glass to put together there for windows. Next, putting together the wings and the tail, as well as the landing gear. So once that's put together, then you move along to the engines, propellers, and then we have the engine nacelles, putting those on the engines with landing gear, and then putting the fuselage together. Looks like we may have a bomb bay. Cockpit going together, then fuselage goes together with nose wheels either up or down. So have a look at the other side. And it looks like there's something there to help hold it up. I'd rather weight it. Bring the wings on, and then engines. So they do have some looks like some model tips. This is a very old model kit, but they show how to glue and tape and sand the edges, and how to score things, how to polish, and then put decals on. Let's have a look. This is a very old kit. You can see all the decals are very yellowed. This is the South African version. This is the British version. There's a lot of surface detail on here. All these rivets lines, though, are raised. There's a lot of surface detail here. It looks like we have options for flaps to be put down. We'll have a look at those. Here's the other side of the wing. And here's the top side. Also, again, a lot of surface detail here. All these pieces are apart. Let's have a look at this sprue. Looks like we have some flashing. It's fairly extensive. Propellers here. There are 4 in total. Here's again part of the wing. It's probably the elevator. Could be up or down. Here's part of the engine nacelle. Here is our cockpit glass, as well as some of the other glass that might need to be sanded smooth so you can see through it. It's gotten really old. There's a lot of look at this. This is our steering column, and there's a lot of flashing here. This is probably the instrument panel, our flaps, and looks like they are set in different places. That's nice. That's a nice option. Lots of surface detail there, but it's all raised. Over here we have Probably the bomb bay doors. This is the bottom portion of the bomb bay. Here are our wheels. Not really much detail on there. But there's a lot of flashing on some of these parts. That'll all need to be cut, sanded. It's a fair amount of extra work. Okay. Here are our tails. Again, lots of extra detail here. This can be placed in different positions, judging by these little hinges. And there's an inside and an outside. Another propeller. And we have some landing gear, the other two propellers. And we have a figure, which really doesn't have a lot of detail here. But it does have some mold lines and an ejector pin line. This, interesting enough, has a stand. I don't usually use stands. Not usually a fan of them. Looks like that's going to go inside there. Go together. I don't usually use these. I tend to use them down to melt them down. But if you did want to have the model displayed as flying. Okay, here are our two fuselages. The two sides. Lots of surface detail. You can see extensive rivet lines. These are all raised there. But they are very proud, very obvious, very large. Obviously, when you sand things together like here, these tend to disappear, these rivet lines, so you may need to rivet them again. But that's a lot of detail. And again, the same on the other side. And here's the other side of that wing. We have some odds and ends here, lots of parts. This looks like the elevator. And the other side of that, here's the other bomb bay door. Another one is still on the sprue. The engine nacelles. Lots of flashing, unfortunately, and mold lines. More parts for the engines. We have, looks like a lot of extra propellers here. Because there were two propellers for the engines. We have a spinner for the propeller. Looks like a engine intake. Not a lot of detail, unfortunately, on the inside there. Looks like we have either a bomb or a fuel tank here. And really just some odds and ends of all the different parts. Part of the cockpit. And some of the other spinners here. Those going together there. Obviously we'll need to get sanded, as for the two different propellers. And then we have a bag of all kinds of parts here. So let's have a look at those parts. They've all come off the sprues. Again, some engine parts, some of the cowls, exhausts. This looks like landing gear. Other sides of the engine, spinners, wheels. Interesting. So, again, here's the engine air intakes, and those aren't very well made, unfortunately. There are a fair number of parts here. There's some level of detail on the surface detail on the body and fuselage and the wings, but the model is not a very well made model. There's a lot of flashing and mold lines, and then some of the areas don't have a lot of detail, such as the engine parts or the wheels. It'll be an interesting model still.